Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and in the series of Indian Evidence Act, we were discussing chapter 9, which is all about witness, covered between section 118 to 134. In that series, we were focusing on the privileged communications or compellability of witness, which is covered between section 121 to 132. And in that series, this is my third and last video where I will discuss section 130, 131 and 132. Not taking much of your time, let's get into the discussion with beautiful charts. Let us start the discussion with section 130, which discusses about production of title deeds of witness, not a party. Before getting into my easy chart, let us quickly go through the Bare Act provision, which says no witness who is not a party to a suit shall be compelled to produce his title deeds to any property or any document in virtue of which he holds any property as pledgee or mortgagee, or any document the production of which might tend to criminate him, unless he has agreed in writing to produce them with the person seeking the production of such deeds or some person through whom he claims. Quite a easy section with its easy English, but I would like to make it further easy with the help of my chart. Before getting into any discussion on section 130, we need to remember two important conditions. The first thing is, here is a witness who is not a party to the suit. That is the first very important requirement. He is only a witness and he is not party to such suit. Second one, he holds a title deed of any property or any document, and by virtue of holding such title deeds of property or any document, he is holding a property or can pledge a property or can mortgage a property. Now that title deed or that document is giving him all such power. These are the two important aspects we need to remember. Now in that case, nobody can compel him to produce such document in that suit. He is only witness. You cannot compel him, or nobody should compel him to produce any such document with which he has the right to hold, pledge or mortgage that property. It may be a title deed of any property or any document, and such title deed or document should not be compelled to produce in any of that case. That is very important aspect. That is the first part. On the second hand, by producing such title deed or such document, if he might tend to be criminated, that means he becomes the part of a criminal charge or he becomes an accused, in that case also nobody should compel him to produce such document. These are the two very important aspects we need to understand from section 130. It also goes further with two important exceptions. The first exception is, one person is asking him to produce the document, and the guy whom about we are discussing, he permits in writing that he will produce the document in that particular suit. In that case, that becomes an exception and he can be compelled to produce the document. On the other hand, he has claimed the title deed or such document from someone else, and while taking the hold over such document, if in writing he has given a permission that in future if it is being asked by the court, I will be producing the document, and if that statement is given in writing, in that case he can be compelled to produce such document. These are the only two exceptions. Otherwise, we need to understand section 130 that a witness cannot be forced to produce his title deeds or any document by which he is holding, pledging or mortgaging a property, or by production of which he might tend to be criminated. Such document should not be compelled to produce in any of that case. That's all we need to remember as far as section 130 is concerned, and with that I am moving to section 131. Section 131 is the continuation of Section 130, which discusses about production of documents or electronic records which another person having possession could refuse to produce. Now, before getting into my chart, let's quickly go through the Bare Act provision which says no one shall be compelled to produce documents in his possession or electronic records under his control which any other person would be entitled to refuse to produce if they were in his possession or control unless such last mentioned person consents to their production. As I said, Section 131 is the continuation of Section 130. There, a witness who is not party to the case, he holds a particular property or pledges or mortgages a particular property with the help of the title deed or the document that he has related to the property. Now, such document should not be compelled to produce in any court. Here what happens, the document is not with the person who is holding or mortgaging or pledging the property. It is with someone else. Like for example, it may be with his agent or attorney or trustee or mortgagee, etc. In that case, the document though is in the hand of agent, attorney, trustee or mortgagee, etc., nobody should compel them to produce such documents or such electronic records which are under the control of such agent, attorney, trustee, mortgagee, etc. Because if it was in the hand of the original owner, he had the right to refuse to produce them when such document or such electronic records are with them. When he had the right, the same right passes to his agents, attorney, trustee, mortgagee, etc. and nobody should compel them to produce any of such document which is in their possession or any electronic records which are under their control. Because under 130, the owner has already having that right, and here the right is passed to the next person who is the agent, attorney, trustee, mortgagee, etc. That is what we need to clearly understand from section 131. Here there is one important exception again. If we keep that agent, attorney, trustee, mortgagee, etc. as person A and the real owner as person B. Now, if person B or Mr. B has given in writing to Mr. A that they can produce the document. If that permission is given in writing by Mr. B to Mr. A, in that case, such document which are in the possession of Mr. A or such electronic records which are in the control of Mr. A can be produced. Now, that is what we need to understand from the exception, and that's all for section 131. The last section that we are discussing as far as privileged communication or compellability of witness is section 132, which discusses about witness not excused from answering on ground that answer will criminate. Here I will quickly read out the Bare Act provision, and if you like to skip the reading part, you can skip the video for next 1 minute and get into the discussion of chart directly. The Bare Act provision says a witness shall not be excused from answering any question as to any matter relevant to the matter in issue in any suit or in any civil or criminal proceeding upon the ground that the answer to such question will criminate or may tend directly or indirectly to criminate such witness, or that it will expose or tend directly or indirectly to expose such witness to a penalty or forfeiture of any kind. There is one very important proviso which says, provided that no such answer which a witness shall be compelled to give shall subject him to any arrest or prosecution or be proved against him in any criminal proceeding except a prosecution for giving false evidence by such answer. In my next slide, I have two important charts to understand section 132 in a detailed manner. Here I have two important charts. In the first chart, I have explained section 132 in detail, and in the second chart, we look at the proviso and why such proviso is very important. Now, in the first chart, if we quickly read the chart itself, it gives 100% clarity. The chart says, a witness shall not be excused from answering any question. Now, here is a witness. He cannot be excused from answering any question which is relevant to the matter in issue. That is very important. The matter should be relevant. So, which is relevant to the matter in issue in any suit or civil proceeding or criminal proceeding. It can be anything. Just because answering those questions will criminate him or maybe criminate him directly or indirectly, or expose him for a penalty, or it may expose him to forfeiture of any of his property. Just because four aspects that I have mentioned in the lowest part of the chart, he cannot be excused answering any questions relevant to the matter in issue which are discussed under any suit, civil proceedings or criminal proceedings. That's about section 132. Then comes the proviso. See the beauty of this section. In the first part, it says, a witness shall not be excused from answering any questions which is relevant to the matter in issue, and just because it may criminate him, or it might criminate him directly or indirectly, or it might expose him to a penalty, or it might expose him to forfeiture of any of his property. Now, he cannot be excused based on any of that ground if the question is relevant to the matter in issue. Saying so, it comes with a very big proviso which says that such answers which were taken by compelling such person or witness should not subject him to any arrest, any prosecution, or be proved against him any criminal proceeding. You can take answer, but the answers should not subject him to any arrest or any prosecution or be proved against him any criminal proceedings. There is only one exception to this, that is, a prosecution can be done for giving false evidence by such answer. While answering, if he has given false answer, in that case there can be prosecution, but if he has given all right answers, in that case, on the basis of the answers that he has given as a witness, in that case, there cannot be any arrest or any prosecution or any criminal proceedings against him. That is the provision. Now the question is, why so? And for the answer, you should immediately get out of Indian Evidence Act and get into Indian Constitution, Article 20, Clause 3. Now, what does Article 20 discusses about? It discusses about protection in respect of conviction for offences, and 20 Clause 3 discusses about no person accused of any offence shall be compelled to be a witness against himself, or self-incrimination is not supported as under Indian Constitution. So, here section 132 protects the person who is giving witness in any suit or criminal proceeding or civil proceeding. That is what we need to remember, because nobody can give witness against themselves, or self-incrimination is not allowed as under Indian Constitution, and that protects a witness who has given witness which is related to the matter in issue under section 132. With that, I am moving to few case laws which are related to section 132. Coming to the case laws, I have 3 case laws here, and from this list I am going to discuss only the second and third case law, and I have given the first case law from Kerala High Court, that is MP Gangadharan versus State, because in that case law both the other case laws that I am discussing is being mentioned very clearly. The second case law was Bombay High Court case law, that is Bhai Shanta versus Umra Amir, and the third one is Supreme Court judgment on the state versus Jagjeet Singh. Now, what is the beauty of these 2 case laws? That is one from Bombay High Court and the other one from Supreme Court of India. In Bhai Shanta versus Umra Amir, the Bombay High Court held that if a witness voluntarily gives the witness and then it causes any kind of crimination or arrest or criminal prosecution, etc., that is okay because the witness has voluntarily given such witness. But the Supreme Court later held that it doesn't matter whether the witness has given voluntarily or was been compelled, whatsoever the status, he is being protected by the provision of section 132 and he should be protected by that proviso. That is what held here. So no matter whether he has given voluntary witness or he was being compelled, he should be protected as per the proviso of section 132. That is what we need to remember as far as Bhai Shanta versus Umra Amir and State versus Jagjit Singh. With that, I am closing this session. That's all for this session, but before concluding, always remember that we have unlimited amount of opportunities in our life, but sometimes we have to take certain amount of risk, just like that fish which is jumping from smaller bowl to the bigger bowl. Like that, we might have to face some risk, but yes, we have a lot of opportunities and we have to convert them. With that, I am concluding. Thank you so much for subscribing my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. All the very best for whatsoever purpose you are referring my channel, and thanks again.